Okay. Can you see the Word file?
Yes, no.
Thank you. Okay, so for the appendix, no, under Dr. Medina, so here are the difficult questions based on the item analysis. Okay, so the first one is which of the following parameters in appendicitis inflammatory response score has a value of 3? Okay, so the answer there would be rebound tenderness. Okay, so I think a lot of you answered the pain migration, okay, and fever. It's a combination of that. Okay, but kindly review the air score. Okay? And then another question was also which of the following CT scan findings is suggestive of acute appendicitis? So the answer there would be fat stranding. Okay, so the popular answer for this one was actually the ficalit, no, but that's not because the question would actually be the inflammation of the appendix, no, not the pathophysiology behind it. So in CT scan, uh, if there is fat stranding around the appendix, then that would signify acute appendicitis. Some would not um, give us the presence of the ficalit. Okay. So third question, a 50 female presented with RLQ pain and anorexia, which started 2 days prior. So there's the vital signs, and then the abdomen with direct tenderness and mild rebound. The WBC was indicated, as well as the neutrophil count of 70, CRP 4 milligrams. So what is the risk of having acute appendicitis based on air score? So again, this is knowing the air score. So the answer here is low. So next one, which of the following clinical findings is most likely associated with acute appendicitis? So the WBC of 16,000, which is an elevated WBC, that's the one. I mean, that's the best answer. No, of course. Later, I mean, if you look at it, no, the pain migration would be, but there's really no indication of the pain. There's no specific area that was mentioned for pain migration. Okay, and then rigidity will can be secondary to peritonitis. No, so that's already ruptured, or other causes may also lead to that. No, and then the CRP level is also not really that. It's not the best answer. Okay? So the WBC would be most likely. And then number 5, a 21 male presented with colicky abdominal pain in the hypogastric area, 1 day duration. And then there's vomiting, abdominal pain. Okay, so the vital signs are stable, but there's fever. Okay, and then there's tenderness all over with rigidity. So the next appropriate management would be an exploratory laparotomy. So there's already signs of peritonitis, the tenderness. Wait, hold on. Okay, so I just my my AirPods got disconnected. Okay, I'm using the laptop speaker. Okay, so I hope I'm still clear. All right, so as I was saying, there are signs of peritonitis. There's fever. Okay, so this is already probably next management would be to do exploration. Okay, and besides getting the appendix, of course we have to wash the entire the area of the abscess formation. Okay, so that would, or if there's already purulent material inside, no, or sometimes even fecalate, no, things like that. So that's why the exploratory laparotomy would be the next, no, appropriate step. Okay, so number 6, which of the following statements about the role of diagnostic imaging in acute appendicitis is true? So the answer here would be letter B. CECT is indicated in a 70-year-old suspected of acute appendicitis with equivocal PE findings. Okay, so that would be, the CT scan would have a role, okay, if the PE findings are equivocal. Of course, we know that there, it was already mentioned, no, by Dr. Medina that that history and PE can is very crucial or significant, no, when it comes to diagnosing acute appendicitis. But if you have equivocal PE findings, then of course, especially in an elderly, no, a contrast enhanced CT scan would be the next step. So number 7, 39 male presented with the 3-day history of right lower abdominal pain with distension, and then you can see the vital signs there. So besides the distension, there's direct tenderness on the right iliac fossa. CT scan was done, and there was already dilated small bowels with a 5 centimeter abscess in the appendiceal area. So what is the next appropriate management? So percutaneous drainage is the appropriate step, no, for this one. Okay, because as opposed to the first one, there was already direct tenderness all over, and then signs of rigidity all over the abdomen, no. This one, we can say that the abscess or the purulent material is confined to that area only, on the right lower quadrant, or in the area of the appendix. So if the abscess or purulent material is on one area of the abdomen, then we can still do a less invasive approach, no, and that would be percutaneous drainage. Okay, next, 58 female presented with the pain on the right iliac fossa. There's anorexia, vomiting, and then the vital signs are seen there. Abdomen is flat with direct and rebound tenderness, no muscle guarding. Okay, there were lab tests also mentioned. So what is the next best approach to this patient based on WSES? So this is a female patient, and again, we keep on emphasizing that of course, in female patients, there would be several pathologies that should be considered, no, not just only the appendix, no, unlike in males. Okay, there are also gynecologic problems. Okay, so imaging should be done, and the best would be a contrast enhanced CT scan. Okay, then next, what are the key features of acute appendicitis CT scan? Okay, so this is a bit similar to the first one. Okay, so besides the fat stranding, of course, the enlarged diameter, no, a luminal diameter of 7 millimeters. Okay, then number 10, following IV antibiotic regimen is used for non-operative management of uncomplicated acute appendicitis. So the answer here would be combination of ceftriaxone and the. So now we go to the by Dr. So tension, vomiting, and graphic evidence of SBO, no signs of peritonitis or bowel ischemia. What is the most appropriate initial management? So initial, no? So the key term there is initial. So we give and give IV initial, not an initial approach. No? It may be the definite, but it's not the initial management. So number 2, a 9-year-old boy presents with painless rectal bleeding. PE is unremarkable. Colonoscopy shows no colonic source of bleeding. So the pertectate scan demonstrates the focal uptake in the right lower abdomen. Okay, so the answer here would be the reticulum or Merkel's diverticulum. So that's already the clue where when you see the focal uptake in the right side, no, that signifies the diverticulum. Okay, then 13, patient with severe abdominal pain. That is occlusion. So which intestine segment is most with SBO initially treated conservatively, develops fever, leukocytosis, and localized tenderness. What complication is most likely? So there's already signs of the loss of viability, okay, of the bowel. Okay, so that would be most likely bowel ischemia. So number 15 was it turned out to be very difficult. We discarded this item already. Okay, but just to show you that this is a case of enterocutaneous fistula. No? So the complication wherein when a patient undergoes bowel resection and then later on post-op and that's a case of an enterocutaneous fistula. Okay, next. For the thyroid, okay, so there are only two items that turned out to be difficult. So first one, which patients with thyroid nodule is most appropriate for observation rather than FNA? Answer there would be letter B, 0.9 centimeter suspicious nodule in a 65-year-old with comorbidities. No, so that's the clue there would be because the patient is already an elderly and there are comorbidities. No, so then survey. Management for a purely cystic thyroid nodule. So no biopsy required since it is a purely cystic. So this is it signifies the nodule is benign. Okay, for the okay, I think there are only two questions also no, for that turned out to be difficult. First one, 62 male, diagnosed with sigmoid adeno-CA. Which of the following tests should be requested next to assess metastasis? So the answer there would be an abdominal contrast-enhanced CT scan. So that's the diagnostic, I mean the standard imaging test. No, if you want is really an MRI, colonoscopy, and not PET CT is still it's still controversial no if it's being used for metastasis, to look into metastasis, because it's really expensive and not all institutions or hospitals have this. No? So still the standard would be an abdominal CT with contrast. Okay, next, a 68-year-old stable patient with portal hypertension is suspected to have bleed secondary to esophageal endoscopy. Of course, we have to look into the varices, no, and then endoscopy is both diagnostic therapeutic for esophageal varices. No, it's the initial choice. No, if you want to stop the bleeding, you can try. So the first difficult item is a 50 female with end-stage renal disease and who underwent a kidney transplant.
of months post-transplant, she presents with fever, malaise, and elevated serum creatinine levels. So this is an example of an acute rejection. Okay, the next item was also turned out to be very difficult, so we just discarded this item and not included it in the MPL, final MPL. And then next, a 35-year-old man undergoes kidney transplant. Within minutes of reperfusion, the graft becomes cyanotic and fails to produce urine. Histology shows widespread thrombosis and neutrophil infiltration. Pre-transplant cross-match was mistakenly not performed. What is the most likely immunologic mechanism? So this is a question on pathophysiology. No? So the answer would be a recipient preformed IgG antibodies binding the donor endothelium. Then the next would be a 58 male with COPD, and he undergoes a double lung transplant. 6 months post-transplant, there's progressive shortness of breath, dry cough, and fatigue. Chest X-ray shows diffuse bilateral infiltrates. So most likely diagnosis would be bronchiolitis obliterans. So that's the most common complication, for a patient who underwent a lung transplant, for COPD. Okay, so now we go to the subspecialty. For orthopedics, again, these are the difficult questions. So 31-year-old basketball player diagnosed with femoral shaft fracture on the left. What is the gold standard treatment? The answer is a close reduction with IM nailing or intramedullary nail. Okay. Next, what is the management of 5-minute Schoffer's fracture? So the answer is application of short arm circular cast. Okay. So these are difficult questions, but then again, these also are questions that appear on the medical board exam, under ortho. For urology, urinary disease associated with terminal hematuria, the answer is posterior urethritis. And I was surprised that this was the last one was a difficult question, for you guys, because it's just simply asking the main risk factor for urothelial carcinoma. Answer here would be the gender, with male sex. I think if I'm not mistaken, the popular answer was a family history of urothelial carcinoma, but that's not the main risk factor. Some doesn't have the family history but still would develop the carcinoma. So just the fact that the patient is male, that's already a main risk factor. Okay, so for plastics, here are the difficult questions. So in the NERDS mnemonic, for identifying superficial wound infection, what does the letter D represent? So that's for delayed healing. Okay, and kindly review the on how to compute the local anesthesia. Okay, so in here, there was a question of an 80-kilo male. Okay, and then you have to suture using lidocaine 2%. So what's the maximum volume allowable is 18 ml. Okay, then next, a patient presenting with a medial malleolus ulcer and brownie or brawny skin discoloration. Most likely, pathophysiology would be the extravasation of RBCs into the dermis followed by hemoglobin breakdown into hemosiderin. So that's the underlying pathophysiology for the brawny skin discoloration. Okay. So that's it for the rationalization for the midterms major exam. So at this point, do you have any